Artificial intelligence is reshaping global power faster than any technology in modern history, and countries are only beginning to understand the scale of the coming disruption. AI data centers consume vast amounts of electricity, and the world is struggling to expand power capacity at the same pace as computational demand. The growth of generative AI, robotics, and cloud infrastructure is transforming electricity from a public utility into a strategic national asset. Nations are discovering that AI requires not only advanced chips, but also uninterrupted access to energy, cooling systems, and resilient electrical grids. Research shows that AI-driven electricity consumption could increase multiple times over within the next decade if current trends continue. Data center clusters in the United States, Europe, and Asia are already straining local grids, forcing governments to accelerate energy permitting and infrastructure planning. Microsoft, Amazon, and Google are responding by purchasing power plants and long-term energy contracts to shield their AI systems from supply volatility. Instead of relying solely on utilities, technology companies are increasingly acting like energy investors, grid builders, and infrastructure operators. The energy sector now views AI as a core demand driver, similar to how electrification, industrialization, and urbanization reshaped prior energy cycles. Financial markets are beginning to evaluate electricity as a competitive advantage for AI leadership, rather than simply as a cost of doing business. The nation that controls abundant electricity, stable grids, and advanced semiconductor manufacturing may gain long-term dominance in AI-driven industries. This has triggered a strategic race between the United States, China, India, the Middle East, and Europe to secure clean and scalable energy sources. China is rapidly expanding both coal and renewable capacity to support data center growth and ensure computational independence. India is accelerating nuclear projects and solar infrastructure to accommodate digital growth and cloud expansion. The Middle East is leveraging energy wealth to attract data centers, AI training clusters, and robotics manufacturing. The United States is modernizing national grid architecture to increase transmission capacity and reliability. Energy policy is becoming a technological policy, and technological policy is becoming a national security policy. Data centers have become the new industrial hubs of the global economy, similar to how steel and oil defined previous eras. Without adequate energy, AI development slows, investment declines, and innovation becomes constrained by grid limitations. Governments now realize that AI is not simply computational capacity, it is electricity converted into intelligence. The next wealth transfer may not be driven by fintech or crypto, but by the countries that can scale energy faster than digital demand. The new competition is not only for talent and chips, but also for terawatts, grid stability, and energy storage technology. The expansion of nuclear microreactors is emerging as a realistic solution for data centers seeking continuous power with minimal land footprint. Small, modular nuclear systems can operate near industrial zones without relying on large-scale centralized infrastructure. Google has already explored nuclear partnerships to support long-term energy security for AI workloads. This model represents a fundamental shift. Energy production becomes hyperlocal, data centers become semi-autonomous, and grids become distributed. Analysts predict that AI will transform electricity from being a commodity into a strategic differentiator that determines competitive advantage. Nations with insufficient energy capacity may lose technological competitiveness and industrial sovereignty. Semiconductor manufacturing is also deeply water-intensive, linking AI expansion to both electricity and freshwater security. Taiwan's chip industry requires stable energy and abundant water to maintain global leadership in advanced semiconductor fabrication. Recurring drought in Taiwan has already disrupted manufacturing schedules and introduced supply chain vulnerabilities. This demonstrates that AI leadership requires robust coordination between water, energy, industrial planning, and national security frameworks. Energy bottlenecks have begun shaping geopolitical alliances because countries are aligning around shared power, infrastructure, and digital manufacturing goals. India is expanding strategic grid interconnections with the Middle East to secure electricity and data infrastructure cooperation. Europe is negotiating cross-border grid expansions to manage industrial demand and electrification needs. Africa is emerging as a potential data center destination due to abundant land and renewable potential, but infrastructure remains underdeveloped. Energy access is becoming a strategic determinant of where technology companies build AI clusters and industrial robotics facilities. Competitive advantage is shifting away from regulatory incentives and toward physical resource availability. Nations that fail to modernize grid systems may suffer capital flight as investors prioritize energy stability and reliability. High-frequency industrial computing requires zero interruption, making blackout risk a key investment consideration. AI is accelerating the convergence between electricity markets, raw materials, and digital supply chains. Rare metals, high-density batteries, and semiconductor-grade purification systems are becoming foundational to the next industrial cycle. The United States, China, and Europe are racing to secure lithium, graphite, and rare earth metals for both energy storage and chip manufacturing. The energy economy is increasingly intertwined with computational capacity, digital automation, and robotics. AI does not replace resource demand. It multiplies it by increasing industrial throughput and manufacturing automation. As AI expands, the demand for industrial water, cooling systems, and specialized facility engineering grows proportionally. This means that digital progress cannot be decoupled from physical infrastructure or from environmental resource stability. Countries that treat AI as only a software opportunity misunderstand its underlying energy and resource requirements. The next wave of global inequality may be driven by energy access rather than capital access or technology access alone. Nations with excess renewable potential can convert sunshine, wind, and geothermal energy into high-value computation. Countries with limited energy potential may become importers of digital services, risking loss of industrial competitiveness. Computation could become a form of exported productivity, similar to how manufacturing once drove global growth. Data centers could become sovereign industrial engines that monetize digital output across borders. Governments are beginning to categorize energy-intensive AI as critical infrastructure, similar to telecommunications and defense assets. Security agencies are assessing risks from cyber attacks, grid sabotage, and geopolitical disruptions targeting AI-related power facilities. National energy planning and cyber defense strategies are merging because AI infrastructure cannot operate without grid-level resilience. The digital economy is not replacing physical infrastructure. It is becoming dependent on more physical resources than any industrial era before it. AI accelerates material consumption, industrial automation, and global factory output. Advanced robotics require continuous computational feedback, sensors, data processing, and adaptive energy support. AI-driven manufacturing could dramatically increase productivity while simultaneously expanding industrial resource requirements. The future of industrial competitiveness will depend on synchronized access to electricity, water, minerals, automation, and computational intelligence. Energy-rich nations may experience a resurgence of geopolitical influence if they align infrastructure with digital manufacturing needs. Oil-rich and gas-rich regions may transform into AI industrial powerhouses if energy is allocated to high computation clusters rather than export logistics. The Middle East has begun analyzing the economic potential of shifting energy output toward data centers and AI robotics. Saudi Arabia and the UAE recognize that computation could replace hydrocarbons as the dominant driver of long-term economic productivity. The new industrial revolution will not be powered by fossil fuels alone, but by a hybrid architecture of nuclear, renewable, battery, and grid-scale storage ecosystems. Countries that can unify traditional resources with digital supply chains may gain generational advantage. AI will accelerate global migration patterns as industrial activity shifts toward regions with affordable and constant electricity. Labor markets may follow computational infrastructure the same way historical migration followed factories, ports, and mines. New digital cities could emerge around energy clusters, industrial automation, and robotics manufacturing ecosystems. Investors have already begun pricing energy access into enterprise valuations and technology expansion strategies. Venture capital and institutional funds are evaluating whether startups can secure long-term energy and grid stability for AI workloads. The cost of computation could rise if energy becomes scarce, leading to industrial pricing adjustments across sectors. Electricity could become a global pricing index for AI training and automation. Nations may create strategic energy reserves for digital infrastructure the same way they once created oil reserves. The future of currency valuation could incorporate computational energy capacity as a form of digital productivity measure. Economic power will no longer be defined solely by GDP, but by computational throughput and industrial energy resilience. Digital automation could shift manufacturing dominance toward countries with abundant renewable potential. Energy storage technology becomes a critical variable in industrial competitiveness because intermittent renewables must be stabilized for industrial use. Battery innovation becomes central to national strategy because without scalable storage, grid modernization remains limited. The speed of AI adoption will depend on both regulatory frameworks and energy scalability. Governments that approve grid expansion slowly may lag behind countries that invest aggressively in energy modernization. Industrial zoning will be redesigned to prioritize data centers near stable energy and water infrastructure. AI is transforming land use planning across continents as regions compete to host data clusters and computational industries. Computation is becoming the most important industrial output of the 21st century. Similar to how steel defined the 20th century, power grids are becoming more valuable than pipelines because energy no longer flows only into vehicles or heating systems, but into digital intelligence. Data processing becomes a major export if nations can scale energy and computation simultaneously. The next global trade system could include computational capacity as a primary exchange mechanism. International cooperation may emerge around shared data infrastructure and energy corridors. Strategic partnerships between electric utilities, data companies, and national governments will shape industrial regions for decades. Capital flows will follow energy flows, and industrial centers will follow computational hubs. The global balance of power is shifting toward nations that recognize energy as both a digital and industrial resource. The political narrative is moving beyond carbon emissions toward competitive industrial electrification. Countries must treat energy capacity as a determinant of technological sovereignty rather than just a public service. The coming industrial age will reward nations that can align AI development with clean, scalable, resilient power. Investors are not only betting on computing companies, but on energy storage, nuclear microreactors, grid modernization, and desalination. AI is accelerating the merger between electricity, industrial automation, robotics, and national wealth creation. Economic power will shift toward nations that secure abundant and affordable energy while developing computational capacity in parallel. The industrial transformation that once depended on coal and oil will now depend on electricity, automation, and AI-enabled productivity. The 21st century may be defined not by traditional geopolitics, but by the race to build an AI energy empire.